We are so glad that you have enjoyed our weekly podcast of SideQuest on. We hope that you continue to listen and enjoy the exciting world of the Land of Sojourn. Quote for the episode: Getting older makes you more alive. More vitality, more interest, more intelligence, more grace, more no expansion. Playing so helps keep me young and I can do anything in the game, much different than the real world. Jamie Lee Curtis, Episode 12, Dinner and a Tournament.
One day earlier, Kyle, Mike, and Kai rushed to the settlement to see Andrew, relieved to find him alive. "We came as fast as we could, though none of us were really playing yet," Kyle said, disappointment evident in his voice. Looking around, they noticed numerous high-ranking guild members and S-class heroes gathered in the area. Andrew explained the recent events, causing everyone's jaws to drop. "I've got to start accompanying you on your missions," Kyle insisted. But he knew many of these missions he could not, as they were beginner quests he and all the rest had already completed. Andrew led them away from the crowd, detailing the harrowing mission, Master Stark Erickson's near-death experience, the mysterious dark stranger, and the intense battle. Kyle, hearing the sword had a golden ethereal glow, quickly asked to see the sword again. In a secluded hut, Andrew revealed his glowing sword. "Holy crap!" Kyle exclaimed, while Mike and Kai stared enviously. Mike reached out, poking the blade. "Wow, that looks so cool," Kai added. "That sword looks like it could kill." The ethereal blade glowed a golden light and eluded a powerful aura. For the first time, Andrew noticed his notifications and asked Kyle a quick question. "Hey, Kyle," asked Andrew in an inquisitive state, "how do I not miss my notification when I play?" Kyle glanced over and responded, "Are you talking about quest notification, or when items like when you completed a quest objective?" "Yeah, the second one," ended Andrew. Kyle showed Andrew how to set it up automatically, so he was notified by accessing the menu settings and making notification automatic. "This might start to annoy you, so feel free to change it when you start to get overwhelmed," said Kyle. Andrew let his friends know that he could finally unlock the previously level-locked requirements to learn more about the sword. They were all ears as Andrew began to read in his inventory what the sword could do. Selecting the previous notification, we read the newly unlocked game explanation. Mythic Weapon Guide, Obtuse. Weapon Class, Mythical Sword. Rarity, 1. Unique Trait, Triple Ruby Enhancement, Weight, Medium, Scaling, Strength, Intelligence. Description: Obtuse is a mythic tier weapon that combines melee combat with energy harvesting mechanics. This unique sword features an advanced resource gathering system through its 3 embedded rubies, each functioning as a separate energy bank. Core Mechanics: Ruby System, Ruby 1, Health, Ruby 2, Attack, Ruby 3, Distance Attack. Capacity: each ruby can store up to 10,000 points of its respective resource, draining hit points or life, mana, and stamina. Resource drain occurs on hit. Visual indicator shows current storage levels. Storage persists through death and logout. Resource collection: on successful hits, drains resources from target, PvE/PvP. Collection rate scales with damage dealt. Resources are automatically sorted to appropriate rubies. Visual effects show energy transfer. No cooldown on collection. Activation requirements: to use stored energy, must be the registered owner of the sword, must have sword equipped, must speak designated activation phrase, must have at least 1,000 stored points in desired ruby. Obtuse can only be gifted to another player and is unable to be taken by any other means. Custom activation system: to password setup, must set unique activation phrase per ruby, cannot be common words, minimum 4 characters, can be changed at designated NPCs. Warning: choose carefully to avoid accidental activation. Combat abilities: Mode 1, Restoration. Type, Self-Buff. Effect, converts stored energy to healing. Resource cost, varies with healing amount. Cooldown, none. Animation time, 2 seconds. Mode 2, Energy Nova. Type, AoE damage. Range, 20 meters radius. Damage, scales with stored energy. User immunity, yes. Resource cost, all current storage. Cooldown, none. Mode 3, Energy Beam. Type, linear projectile. Range, infinite until target hit. Damage, continuous based on storage. Width, 2 meters. Resource cost, depletes until target dies. Cooldown, none. Tips and strategies. Fill rubies before major boss fights. Keep minimum storage for emergency healing. Use Energy Nova in Group PvP. Energy Beam excellent for high HP targets. Consider resource types when choosing targets. Monitor resource levels via UI. Practice activation phrase in safe areas. Warning: speaking your activation phrase in public chat will not trigger the sword's abilities, must be spoken in-game with sword equipped. Achievements: Ruby Master. Fill all 3 rubies to maximum capacity. Energy Harvester. Drain 1 million total resources. Perfect balance. Use all 3 abilities in one battle. Remember, Obtuse is not just a weapon, it's a resource management tool that rewards strategic thinking and careful planning. Use its powers wisely, and you'll have one of the most versatile weapons in the game at your disposal. Wow, thought Andrew to himself. The true genius of Obtuse's design lies in its activation system. The wielder must choose a unique phrase or code word, something so distinct and unusual that it could never be uttered by accident in the heat of battle. This linguistic key becomes bound to the sword's magic, creating an unbreakable bond between weapon and warrior. When the chosen phrase is spoken by the rightful wielder with the sword in hand, they gain access to 3 devastating powers. The first manifestation allows the wielder to reclaim the stored energies, experiencing a rush of restoration as health floods their body, stamina reinvigorates their muscles, and mana rejuvenates their magical reserves. This healing surge appears as a spectacular display of swirling energies flowing from the gems into the wielder's body, like 3 intertwining rivers of light. The second option unleashes what witnesses have described as devastation incarnate, a catastrophic explosion of all 3 energy types combined. This blast, while leaving the wielder mysteriously untouched, creates a sphere of destruction that transforms the stored life force into pure, devastating energy. The explosion manifests in a tricolor display of red, amber, and blue forces, each representing the different energies released. The third and perhaps most tactical application projects the combined energy in a focused beam of unprecedented force. This concentrated stream of power, described by some as death's own arrow, continues its relentless path until it either exhausts its stored energy or utterly destroys its target. The beam itself is a sight to behold, a triple helix of swirling energies, each color representing its source, combining into a force of pure annihilation. The sword demands respect and wisdom from its wielder, for its power comes with considerable responsibility. A carelessly chosen activation phrase could result in devastating accidental discharges, while a well-chosen one ensures the weapon remains dormant until its power is truly needed. Masters of Obtuse often speak of the blade as not merely a weapon, but as a repository of life itself, requiring the same careful consideration in its use as any decision over life and death. In the hands of a skilled wielder who understands its intricacies, Obtuse becomes more than just a sword. It transforms into a tool of tactical versatility, offering options for healing, area control, and focused elimination. The implications of this weapon and the power Andrew now can wield was a little overwhelming. Kyle could see Andrew absorbed in his thoughts. So, anything worth sharing? Andrew gathered his friends around, his eyes gleaming with excitement as he explained the incredible features of his new sword. The 3 rubies embedded in the blade seemed to pulse with energy as he spoke. So basically, Andrew said, holding up the blade, I can set up specific phrases that trigger different abilities. One phrase replenishes 10,000 hit points, another creates a massive explosion dealing 10,000 damage, and the third lets me use it as both a sniper rifle or close-range weapon. That's not even the best part, he continued. Every time I strike an opponent, it drains their stamina, health, and mana, storing it in these 3 rubies. And get this, if anyone tries to steal it, I just need to hold out my hand and it returns to me. Kai's eyes widened. Dude, you basically got Thor's hammer. Kyle had a look that said it all. He was deeply jealous. So wow started Kyle, overwhelmed by the news. The sword's previously locked features were now accessible, revealing 3 levels: healing, explosion damage, and a long-distance attack. Each required a specific phrase or word to activate. The healing ability could restore up to 10,000 hit points, while the damage feature could unleash a devastating 10,000-point explosion. The long-distance function transformed the weapon into a precise targeting system, consuming points until striking its mark. Your sword possessed another unique trait. It absorbed mana, health, and stamina from opponents, storing the energy in its 3 rubies. Like Thor's hammer, the sword showed unwavering loyalty to Andrew. He could recall it to his hand if someone took it from him. The only way the sword could be taken was if the player gifted it, finished Kyle. The team fell into an impressed silence, but Kyle quickly motioned for them to keep it down, gesturing that they should continue this conversation at their house, where it would be safer. Andrew, in an almost whisper, continued pulled, There's more. When I defeated that stranger, my chest inventory got completely filled. What's my in-game chest? Listen, Kyle replied, lowering his voice. You need to get home and check that out. It's the chest in your room. Everything went to that location due its magical capabilities. I can show you how to manage your inventory better. I've got this endgame chest system. It cost me $59, but it gives unlimited storage through an app. I'll share it with you. Trust me, you don't want to be over-encumbered. It'll slow you down to a crawl. Should we head out now? Andrew asked. Try to get everyone together? Yeah, but let me talk to Dash first. I'll stick around as protection. Kyle's expression turned serious. Did anyone see you with the sword? Everyone who was there, Andrew replied. Any phones or cameras out? I don't think so. I was kind of busy, Andrew said, then hesitated before adding, getting my clothes punched off. Kyle burst into uncontrollable laughter, slapping Andrew's back. Oh man, I wish I could have gotten that on video. Mike and Kai just looked at each other and had a delayed laugh. Wait, you were punched naked? Said Mike. Trust me, you don't, Andrew chuckled, explaining how the Dark Stranger's punch had been so powerful it had literally knocked his clothes off, leaving him standing there in just the comical underwear he'd fortunately just purchased from the Adventurers Guild. If I hadn't bought those, I would have been completely naked. He continued describing how everything they had shattered against the Dark Stranger, even his sword. But hey, I did reach level 61, almost 62. The experience points from that fight were insane, and the sword's hit points are maxed out. Kyle and Mike wiped tears of laughter from their eyes. Man, I would have paid good money to see you fighting in your underwear. They approached Guildmaster Dash to report what had happened, but the master quickly motioned them away from the crowd. Not here, he said in a hushed tone. We'll discuss this later. Without saying goodbye, Kyle transported everyone back home, leaving the celebration in full swing. Sam and Jerome led a serpentine dance, weaving through the village streets, their joy infectious, as villagers joined the winding chain of revelry. The party cancellation from Andrew was absorbed in the loud partying. In the quiet of his room, Master Stark Erickson sat in his bed, hand pressed against his chest, feeling each precious heartbeat. The sounds of laughter and music filtered through his window, a reminder of the life that still coursed through him. He'd faced death countless times before, but this encounter had been different. The memory of the stranger's dark energy burning through him still haunted his thoughts, the pain etched into his very being. "I will have to train harder," he whispered, fingers tracing the fresh scar that ran from his shoulder blade to his navel, a permanent reminder of how close he'd come to leaving this world. The door creaked open, revealing Grandmaster Dash, his silver eye gleaming with both concern and relief. "Hello, old goat," Dash said, his voice thick with emotion. "Hello back at you," Erickson returned warmly. "You know, I had 1,000 old man jokes ready, but seeing you alive, they've all abandoned me." Erickson's eyes crinkled with mischief. "Well, when Null the Conqueror asked if I wore boxers or briefs, I answered, 'Depends.'" The tension broke as Dash countered, "What's the difference between good-looking and looking good?" He paused dramatically. "About 50 years." Their laughter, deep and genuine, filled the room, two old warriors finding solace in each other's company, their shared humor masking the day's fears. The sounds of celebration outside seemed to wash away the trauma they'd endured. "This is why we do this," Erickson said softly, his voice carrying years of wisdom. "Each generation needs to be better than the first." "With your help, of course," Dash added, his silver eye glistening. "Beth and I, we can't imagine the Guild without you. You're more than just a member. You're family." "Everyone has their exit scene," Erickson mused. "Today just wasn't my final act. Though when it comes, I hope it's something spectacular, maybe wrestling a dragon or taking on a fire demon after one too many meads." "Whatever it is, it better be unofficial guild business," Dash replied, giving Erickson's shoulder a gentle squeeze. "I hate doing paperwork for sick leave anyway." His attempt at humor couldn't quite mask the tremor in his voice as he added, "I've already lost one hero to these strangers. I won't lose another. I can't." Erickson's face grew solemn as he stared out the window. "Losing Null the Destroyer hit me harder than I expected," he admitted, his voice heavy with grief. "Just 3 days ago we were sharing tales over mead, and now his seat at the guild hall sits empty. He was more than just a warrior. He was a testament to what the guild stands for. Those young recruits he was training, they looked up to him like a father." Erickson's hand tightened on his blanket. "I've got to step up now, take on his students. They need guidance more than ever, especially with these dark times approaching. Each one of them has such potential, such fire in their eyes, just like Null saw in every new recruit." "These strangers," Dash said, pacing the room with evident unease, his silver eye glowing brighter with concern. "They're unlike anything we've faced before. Their power. It's not just their strength that worries me, it's their ruthlessness. When that one attacked you today, I saw no hesitation, no honor, just pure destructive intent, and there are more of them out there." He stopped at the window, watching the celebrations below. "We've faced dragons, demons, and dark lords, but these beings, they don't play by any rules we know. They nearly took you from us today. They took Knull, and I fear they're just getting started." "Which is precisely why we must prepare our recruits for what's coming," Master Erickson responded, sitting up straighter despite his injury. "The Guild has always adapted, always evolved. These strangers may be powerful, but they'll learn that the strength of the Adventurers Guild lies not in individual power, but in our bonds, our traditions, and our ability to stand together." He paused, a slight smile crossing his weathered face. "Besides, someone needs to teach these youngsters how to properly celebrate a victory without burning down the tavern again." They talked long into the night, their conversation flowing easily between old tales and new concerns. Their bond, forged through decades of friendship and countless adventures, was evident in every word, every shared glance. In the face of mortality, their brotherhood had only grown stronger. Sam, Misty, and Jerome had just formed a conga line combining with many of the local settlement and linked into a large snake formation as they danced in a loop around the village. Thomas was busy looking for Andrew to try and apologize, but his excitement for his first viral video was too great. His local SoTube channel video had just under 25,000 views in only a short hour. It was already on the main SoTube news feed, and it was only 8:32 p.m. Was he wrong for not asking permission from the group to post? For some reason, he didn't really care.
Stay tuned for part 2 of Dinner and a Tournament.